exit, so if I have any guesses on where those might be at. Yeah, in the back's one of them. There's also a big one in the front, a big one out the back, the right and the left, just about anywhere. But if you happen to hit one of these green beams, that's probably okay, just give it another try. But if you then do hit it a second time, well, that's just what we like to call natural selection. I get up with that one. Also, kids, while we're on the water, I do ask you please reach over the side and you splash your parents. It is mandatory. But parents, if they get too out of hand, that's perfectly okay. All you're going to do is grab them right by the ankles, give them a couple dunks over the side. I'll be looking straight ahead the whole entire time. Won't even notice you guys did anything back there. Also, while we are on land, I do ask that all please stay seated. Keep your hands and arms inside those green beams right there. We'll be going through some trails. I don't want you guys getting hit by any branches or anything, maybe outside trails. But once you're on the water, feel free to stand up, move around, take any pictures you may want. Just please do not go on that back deck back there. It does get very slippery, and I do not want anybody to slip and fall. Alright, do I have any last questions before I take off here? No?
Nobody ever had to get out and help push, right?
No.
Alright, we're good.
Alright. There's that extra spot right there, sir, if you wanted to hop over, so you have a little more room back there. I don't see this open. Alright, well, if you guys think of any more questions on today's tour, just hold on to them until the end of the tour. It does get very loud up here. I do not want you guys to think I'm ignoring you back there. At the end of the tour, I'll be sure to pull over for that quick question and answer session. At that time, I'll answer all your guys' questions. Alright, sounds good. One last thing before we get going, if you guys could reach under those green seats, grab those brown safety belts and buckle up, then I'll be on my way.
I'm just going to hand my mic to the gentleman right there on my right hand side. He'll be sure to tell you all about his wild life. Over here on our left, you'll notice the beautiful Lake Delton. Be splashing down in just a couple minutes. And then over here on our right, that is our very own beautiful Lake Sally. Lake Sally is home to our state bird. Do I have any guesses on what that might be? Well, it is actually the mosquito. And we trap those mosquitoes right here at this blind power. Send them all the way back over to Minnesota. Just like Brett Favre. Over here on our left, this is our first obstacle of the day. We call this obstacle Sand Trap Hill. This is actually the few ducks that only get stuck on this hill from time to time. But we do happen to get stuck today, that's going to be okay. I do have a plan. Being a couple of strong gentlemen, we're going to go to the back of the dock. We're actually going to then lower down all the women and children. And once they're all safe and lowered down, we're going to go back to our seats and sit down. And then once we're all seated, we're going to cheer them on as they push us up the hill. Now, how does that sound back there? Pretty good? Alright, straight ahead, you're going to notice Lake Delton, and that is where we are going to be making our first splashdown of today. But as you guys can tell, this one is pretty tricky, so I do need you guys' help on this one. If I could just have everybody on the left jump to the right on the count of 3, we're actually going to get this duck up on 3 wheels, shoot around the garbage cans in between the houses, grab the bone right off that red dock. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3! Just kidding. But if you do want to come back at the end of the summer, that's going to be my last day of RIP. We'll be sure to try that. after a quick right and a quick left, we're going to go down Rollover Hill. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering why we call it Rollover Hill, but we are just not going to talk about it at this time. But we can go down Rollover Hill one of two ways. We can go nice and slow, kind of like we're going right now. We're going to have 0 to no fun at all. Or we can go down it nice and fast and make a big splash. So by a raise of hands, who wants to go nice and slow? Alright, we got one of you back there. Alright, who wants to go nice and fast and make a big splash? Alright, sounds good. Please feel free to scream wee, but please do not go wee wee. Here we go. Yeah, take that, Six Flags. What I just did is I just engaged my 45-pound brass propeller, and I disengaged my four-wheel drive. So if you actually look over the side, you see those wheels going up to the top of the surface. Just kidding, this is a Doc Not a Transformer. Welcome to Lake Delton. If you all look over there in the back right corner, you'll notice that brick building with the red roof. That is actually known as Sarington's Mill. Sarington's Mill is actually the second oldest building here in the Wisconsin Dells, and actually the oldest building here on the lake. Sarington's Mill was used back in the day to turn wheat and corn into flour, and it was powered by Dell Creek, and Dell Creek used to run along that right-hand shoreline of Lake Delton over there. Unfortunately, Sarington's Mill is not operational anymore, but they did turn it into a really nice museum if any of you guys want to go over there and check that out. little bit of information about the lake that we are on right now. Actually, I don't know if many of you know this, but Lake Delton is actually a man-made lake. A man named William J. Newman. He came here in the early 1900s. He actually purchased all 270 acres of land. He then cleared out all the trees and started digging a great big hole. Once that hole was completely dug out, like I said, Del Creek used to run along that right-hand shoreline of Lake Delton over there. Del Creek actually naturally filled up that great big hole, and once it was completely filled up, he actually dammed off Del Creek with Newman's Dam right over there in the right-hand corner. You guys actually notice that brown bridge over there with the yellow sign on it? That is actually the bridge that goes right over the top of Newman's Dam. And then once this lake was completely filled up, him and his family came here on vacation from Chicago. But due to the stock market crash in 1929, he was actually forced to sell all 270 acres of land. He sold all that land to Lake Delton Corporation, and that corporation, of course, turned it into the lake we know it as today, as Lake Delton. Also, Lake Delton is known as the Magical Lake. That's because back in June of 2008, this lake did completely drain out. We received over 50 inches of rain in the course of 2 days. That raised the water level so high. If you guys look to the left of those log houses over there, you're actually going to notice that rocky shoreline. That's County Road A. The water in Lake Delton, it actually rose so high it rushed over the top of County Road A right there. And eventually it actually washed out a 500-foot section straight over into the Wisconsin River, which caused this lake to drain out in a little over 2.5 hours. Once this lake was completely drained out, 3 guys came down here with metal detectors. They actually found 2 dump trucks full of fishing equipment, $100,000 worth of women's jewelry, and actually 3 handguns that did lay right over there by Newman's Dam. It took 2 months to clear out all the stumps that are over here to the left-hand shoreline, so we can actually drive a lot closer now. Then they took another 6 months to reconstruct County Road A, as it did take them a lot more time and money to make it a lot taller and sturdier to prevent that problem from happening once again. Then they took another 4 months to naturally fill up this lake once again by Del Creek and Newman's Dam. So it took them just about from June of 2008 to June of 2009 to make this lake fully operational once again. Over here to our left, that rock right there is known as Lone Rock. Lone Rock got its name because it is in fact the last freestanding rock all the way downstream on the Wisconsin River. Lone Rock does have 4 caves that go through the inside of it, and actually had the biggest cave opening on the inside. You could fit this duck. Also, if any of you are taking pictures on today's tour, we are going to be coming up to an excellent photo opportunity here in a second. Not at this first cave opening on our left, but actually at that second one, we're going to be able to look all the way through the rock. When you look through the rock, you're going to notice the shape that shows up on the other side. Well, I actually brought my girlfriend down this river a long time ago. She looked through. She said that it kind of looked like a wedding bell, but we unfortunately are no longer together because I don't really see that. I actually kind of see it more as a church bell. When you look through on this side of the rock, you're going to notice a different shape that shows up. On this side, it's going to kind of look like a teardrop or an upside down heart. It really depends what kind of mood you're in today. A Precambrian pot stand sandstone. Yeah. formations here, you may be wondering how they all got their names. They actually got their names by a man named Henry Hamilton Bennett, also known as H.H. Bennett. He came down this river a long time ago. He actually took pictures of all these rocks, and then he later named them. Actually, the rock formations you guys are looking at are what's him to be the famous photographer that he is. He does have a studio here in the Wisconsin Dells. If you guys want to go over there and check out that studio, it is actually a really nice studio. But over here to our right, kind of call those two rocks right there the twin inkstands. We thought they looked like two inkstands right there. Now I can kind of see that as the black that flows down the sides, kind of looks like the overflowing ink. We like the trees on the top are like the feather beds that they used back in the day. Also, those two rocks right there, they do in fact form a natural compass, and they're only known to be off by just 3 degrees. Do those two rock formations over there on our left, but first I'm going to tell you about the big one that is over there on the right hand side. Actually Bennett called that big rock right there Sugar Bowl Island. Thought it looked like a big bowl of overflowing sugar. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I've actually come down this river about 500 times, and I still do not see that big bowl of sugar. But I'm going to line this up from a different angle here, and I'm going to tell you guys what I see every single time. Now, you know I don't have the best imagination ever, but I can still kind of see a left leg or right leg, and that tree hanging down right there is kind of like the tail. Now, that looks like the rear end of an elephant. Yeah, you see that one a lot better. Over to the left, the Sugar Bowl that is known as Grotto Rock. Grotto Rock got its name by all the grotto caves that go through the inside of it. And actually, if you were to come down this river in your canoe or your kayak, you go straight to the inside of Grotto Rock. to our left, you're going to notice that cement pillar right there. That is actually a U.S. Geological gauging station. That station does measure how fast the water flows on any given day. Today it's not flowing too fast, right around 4,000 cubic feet per second. But also, as you read that brown sign out there, you may notice it does say back in September 14th of 1938, the water actually reached the top of that brown sign. When I told you guys about that flooding we got back in June of 2008, the water actually reached the top of that horizontal pillar right there. It's kind of a big difference to put things into perspective. Already that sandstone right there is laid. Each layer of that sandstone represents about 50 to 5,000 years worth of compression. Also, this sandstone here is only found in 4 different places around the world. Right here in the Wisconsin Dells, upstate New York, Zurich, Switzerland, and where it got its name in Potsdam, Germany. Unfortunately, as we make our way through the creek here, that is the conclusion on the hard tour today. But if you did think of any questions on today's tour, I do ask that you please hold on to them for a little bit longer. Like I said, once I get back to property, I'll be sure to pull over for that quick question and answer session. And at that time, I'll be sure to answer all you guys' questions. Actually, this water here is imported from the former Soviet Union. You guys can tell that because it sure is rushing. I hope you guys enjoyed today's tour, and thank you guys for coming out today.
Where we get off?
Yeah.
How'd you guys like the tour?
It was great.
Right.
Good,
Awesome.
good. That's good. Do I have any questions from you guys back there? What's that?
Second lake.
Oh, that's the Wisconsin River. Yeah.
Delton, right?
Yeah, Lake Delton, yeah. Yeah, good question.
You ever have any accidents with cars?
No, we have not. Back in 2008, there was an accident, but it wasn't anything major, so yeah. More with like jet skis and boats on the water than anything, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of the houses that are owned there by property owners. There's a lot of resorts that are also on the lake there as well, and like timeshare houses that you guys can like rent out for like a weekend or the week or something, like cabins out there. But I would say probably 30% of the homes out there are privately owned, or like those condos over there on the left. They of course, you know, rent those out as well. But yeah, I'd say probably like 30% of the houses out there are privately owned. Yeah, good question. Any other questions back there? Lake Delton is about 8 to 12 feet deep. It actually hits its deepest part right around 15 feet deep over by the Lake Newman's Dam. So, yeah. Yep. There's a couple other launches than the one that we went out of. So that launch is of course like privately owned by our company and also the city of Lake Delton, so they give us the rights to like go in and out of there, but there's a lot of other launches that are on Lake Delton there that you can go in and out of. But yeah.
How come you don't need any like special stuff for ducks like the common person does? You go on the highway and stuff.
Yeah.
Or not the highway, but roads, public roads.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I cannot say the answer to it.
Special laws for ducks.
Yeah, must be special laws for like tourist attraction as well. You know, because like the trolleys you go on, you know, transport, you know, wear seatbelts and those either, you know, so also, you know, just depends, I guess. It's my quacker. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions for me, I do have one last thing to talk about. These right here are postcards, pictures of the ducks. On the back of every single postcard is going to tell you some very good information. Some of the information I might have missed on tour today just because we do only have a little bit of time out there. There'll be a lot of information to go over. There are 6 pictures here. There is actually a little cartoon picture of the duck, what it looks like if the soldiers were to ride on that duck instead of cargo back in World War II. We do have a couple splashdown pictures in here. A little specification picture about the duck tells you a little bit more about the duck that you guys are on right now. This is my favorite picture of all the ducks lined up before they're sent over to be used in World War II. This shows you what the duck looks like before you turn it into a tour duck that you're on right now. And last but not least is a little picture of the duck going in between Sugar Bowl and Grotto Rock like we did today on tour. I know you guys are probably wondering what's the catch on these postcards right here. Actually guys, there's a little bit of a catch. Before you get too mad at me, let me please explain myself here. Actually, us duck drivers, we make a low minimum wage, so we do actually rely on the sales of these postcards, these placards, and any other generous tips to make our money throughout the summer. That's of course not our boss's way of being cheap by any means. It's actually his incentive that we go out there every single time, really give you guys the best possible tour that we can, fill you guys up a lot of information out there, and at least make you guys laugh a couple times. As you guys probably do know, after you go out there every single day all summer long, these tours do just get a tad bit boring after a while. So like I said, it's just that little extra incentive to go out there every single time to give you guys that better tour. I do actually ask $3 for all 6 of these postcards right here in this package, and $3 also for one of these placards. Anything else would be greatly appreciated. A little bit of information about myself. Like I said, my name is Charlie. I grew up in a little small town called Nacita, about 40 minutes north of here. This is my 2nd summer here at the Dallas Army Ducks. I go to school at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, and there I'm studying secondary education and hope to one day be a physical education teacher. But that is everything that I do have for you guys today. We're going to make our way back up to the dock. I'll be the first one to exit. I'll be standing right next to that red gate if you guys want to purchase any of these postcards or these placards. That's going to be the time to do so. And I do just want to thank you guys one last time on behalf of myself and other drivers here at the Dallas Army Ducks. Really do thank you guys for coming out riding today's tour.
As I make my way back up to the dock, I do have a couple last things to you guys. Over here on our left, that's a little bit of our World War II memorabilia right there, kind of like our little salute to service. So if I do have anybody on today's tour that has served any time in the military, I do just want to personally thank you guys for that. Over here on our left, there's a little bit of our World War II memorabilia right there, kind of like our little salute to service. So if I do have anybody on today's tour that has served any time in the military, I do just want to personally thank you guys for that.